We're here at the Bacaulay Pumpkin Patch in Ojai, California. What a great place to read a story about pumpkins. Written and illustrated by Helen Cooper from 1998, it's Pumpkin Soup. Deep in the woods, there's an old white cabin. With pumpkins in the garden, there's a good smell of soup, and at night, with luck, you might see a bagpiping cat through the window, and a squirrel with a banjo, and a small singing duck. Pumpkin soup, the best you've ever tasted. Made by the cat, who slices up the pumpkin. Made by the squirrel, who stirs in the water. Made by the duck, who scoops up a pipkin of salt and tips in just enough. They slurp their soup and play their song, then pop off to bed in a quilt stitched together by the cat, embroidered by the squirrel, and filled with fine feathers from the duck. And it's peaceful in the old white cabin. Everyone has his own job to do. Everyone is happy, or so it seems. But one morning, the duck woke up early. He tiptoed into the kitchen and smiled at the squirrel's special spoon. "Wouldn't it be fine," he murmured, "if I could be the head cook?" He drew up a stool, hopped on top, and reached until his beak just touched the tip of the spoon. Kerplunk! Down it clattered. Then the duck trotted back to the bedroom, held up the spoon, and said, "Today it's my turn to stir the soup." "That's mine," squeaked the squirrel. "Stirring is my job. Give it back." "You're much too small," snapped the cat. "We'll cook the way we always have." But the duck held on tight until the squirrel tugged with all his might. And whoops! The spoon spun through the air and popped the cat on the head. Then there was trouble. A horrible squabble, a row, a racket, a rumpus in the old white cabin. "I'm not staying here," wailed the duck. "You never let me help with anything." And he packed up a wheelbarrow, put on his hat, and waddled away. "You'll be back," stormed the cat, "after we've cleaned up." And the squirrel shook the spoon in the air, but the duck didn't come back. Not for breakfast, not even for lunch. "I'll find him," scoffed the cat. "He'll be hiding outside. I bet he's in the pumpkin patch." But the duck was not in the pumpkin patch. They could not find him anywhere. So they waited all that afternoon. The cat watched the door. The squirrel paced the floor. "That duck will be sorry when he comes home," they muttered. But the duck didn't come home. Not even at soup time. The soup wasn't tasty. They made it too salty. They didn't feel hungry anyway. They both sobbed over supper, and their tears dripped into the soup and made it even saltier. "We should have let him stir the soup," sniffled the squirrel. "He was only trying to help," wept the cat. "Let's go out and look for him." The cat and the squirrel were scared as they wandered down the path in the dark, dark woods. They feared for the duck, all alone with the trees, and the foxes, and the wolves, and the witches, and the bears. But they couldn't find him. On and on they trudged until they reached the edge of the steep, steep cliff. "Maybe he fell down that," wailed the cat. "I'll save him," squealed the squirrel, and he scrambled down on a long, shaky rope. He searched all around on the ground, but he couldn't find the duck. Then the cat whispered in a sad little voice, "Duck might have found some better friends." "He might," said the squirrel. "Friends who let him help." And the more they thought about it as they plodded back, the more they were sure they were right. But when they were almost home, they saw a light coming from the old white cabin. "It's Duck!" they shrieked as they burst through the door. And the duck was so happy to see them. He was also very hungry, and though it was late, they thought they would all make some pumpkin soup. When the duck stirred, the cat and the squirrel didn't say a word. Not even when the duck stirred the soup so fast that it slopped right out of the pot. Not even when the pot got burnt. Then the duck showed the squirrel how to measure out the salt, and the soup was still the best you'd ever tasted. So once again, it was peaceful in the old white cabin. Until the duck said, "I think I'll play the bagpipes now." I hope you enjoyed hearing this story as much as I enjoyed reading it to you. Written by Linda White, illustrated by Megan Lloyd. From 1994, it's Too Many Pumpkins. Every year at springtime, Rebecca Estelle planted just enough seeds in her garden to grow vegetables for the long winter. She planted carrots and beans, tomatoes, peas, corn, and rutabagas. She grew a little bit of everything except pumpkins. Rebecca Estelle hated pumpkins. When she was a little girl, money had been scarce. For an entire month, all there had been to eat were pumpkins. Baked pumpkins, steamed pumpkins, boiled pumpkins, stewed pumpkins, mashed pumpkins, rotten pumpkins, breakfast pumpkins, lunch pumpkins, dinner pumpkins, enough pumpkins. When things finally improved and there was more money for food, Rebecca Estelle decided she would never eat pumpkins again, or even look at them, not ever. And she didn't until one autumn day, long after Rebecca Estelle's hair had turned snowy white. She was raking the leaves that fell from each of her black walnut trees, and her cat Esmeralda was scattering them just as quickly. All of a sudden, a pumpkin truck passed by. Oh, she heard it coming, and she knew what it was. It rumbled by at harvest time every year. She turned her back and concentrated on picking up the last fallen leaf. She managed to ignore the truck until, splat! An enormous pumpkin tumbled off the truck and smashed into slimy orange smithereens all over the edge of her yard. "Come back here and get this pumpkin," she yelled, but the driver sped away. "Well, I won't touch it," Rebecca Estelle insisted, getting her shovel from the barn. "And I won't look at it," she added, as she shoveled dirt on top of the pumpkin pieces. "I won't think about that pumpkin ever again," she declared. And she didn't, until springtime, when Rebecca Estelle was admiring the new sprouts in her garden. She noticed Esmeralda playing in some big green leaves growing at the edge of the yard. "How curious," she said, going over to inspect them. "I didn't plant anything here." Then Rebecca Estelle remembered the pumpkin truck and the slimy pumpkin smithereens. "Pumpkins!" she cried in disgust. "Come out of there, Esmeralda. I will not water those plants. I will not tend them. I will ignore them until they die." She picked up Esmeralda and stomped inside. But a week later, when Rebecca Estelle peered out her window, she saw that the vines had grown. She tramped to the barn, got her garden tools, and went to work on the pumpkin vines. She cut and dug until not one was left growing. "There, now there will be no pumpkins," she said, and went back inside. But the next week, when she was weeding the garden, she noticed that the pumpkin vines had grown back. Rebecca Estelle marched inside and snapped the curtains shut. "The only thing to do is ignore them. They won't grow if I don't take care of them." So rain or shine, all spring and summer, she never looked out the front window. She used only the back door and never even glanced toward the vines. Neither did Esmeralda. Rebecca Estelle ignored the vines so well that in time she forgot why she wasn't using the front door. Until one autumn day, when she and Esmeralda went to rake the leaves that fell each fall from the black walnut tree in front of the house. "Pumpkins!" Rebecca Estelle shrieked. Pumpkin vines had twined under the bushes, over the bird bath, through the porch rails, and onto the rocking chair. The entire yard was a sea of plump, round pumpkins. Rebecca Estelle could no longer ignore them. She plopped down on the pumpkin nearest her, putting her hands over her face. "What will I ever do, Esmeralda?" she cried. "How will I get rid of this many pumpkins?" She thought and she thought. Her mind went back to all the pumpkins she had eaten as a young girl, when pumpkins were the only food her family had. "Well, we can't let them stay here," said Esmeralda. "Some people might need these pumpkins, and I suppose there are folks crazy enough to like them. We'll give them away." She marched off to get her wheelbarrow. Rebecca Estelle struggled to lift the first pumpkin, and then the second, and then the third. She huffed and she puffed as she wheeled the loaded wheelbarrow into the lane. "I'm too tired to deliver these heavy pumpkins now," Rebecca Estelle grumbled. She mopped her brow with her apron and wondered what to do next. "Perhaps if I make them into pies, then they'll be easier to deliver. Such a nuisance." So she went to work. She scooped the slimy seeds out of the pumpkins and cut away the shells. After she boiled the pumpkin meat, she mixed it with eggs, milk, flour, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves to make rich pies. Then Rebecca Estelle made pumpkin tarts, pumpkin muffins, pumpkin cakes, pumpkin bread, pumpkin pudding, pumpkin cookies, until pumpkin dishes spilled out of every cupboard, drawer, and cubbyhole, and the seeds were a mountain in the corner. "Well, that's the first batch," Rebecca Estelle said, dusting her floury hands. "Now to deliver them." She put the wheelbarrow outside the kitchen door and loaded it with pumpkin treats. When it was full, just the thought of delivering all those pumpkin dishes made Rebecca Estelle tired. "If only people would come get them," she said. Then she had an idea. Rebecca Estelle whirled around and hurried back into the house for the kitchen knife. "This should get people to come," Rebecca Estelle cried. She took her knife and sat in the middle of the pumpkin patch. She carved a smiling face on a nice round pumpkin, a scary snaggletooth face on a tall thin pumpkin, and boo on a short squat pumpkin. She was so busy carving pumpkins, she hardly noticed how dark it was getting. When she could no longer see, she went to the shelf on the back porch and got a sack of candles she kept for emergencies. "If this doesn't get people to come here," she said, "we'll have to deliver them all ourselves." Rebecca Estelle peered into the darkness for a long time. She didn't see anything. Still she watched, until finally she saw a light. Faint at first, then brighter, and then more lights bobbing through the night. "Here they come," she shouted. "Esmeralda, let's heat some apple cider." Young and old, everyone in town came. "Rebecca Estelle, we thought you hated pumpkins," they said. "We saw your jack-o'-lanterns from the end of the road and came for a closer look." "I was hoping you would," said Rebecca Estelle. "Where did you ever find all these pumpkins?" people asked. "I came by them quite by accident," Rebecca Estelle said, smiling. "Would you like some pumpkin pie? There's plenty." She winked at Esmeralda. Everyone enjoyed the pumpkin pie and cider and had a good time. So did Rebecca Estelle. And when they were ready to go home, she made sure each carried a jack-o'-lantern, a bag of seeds for roasting, and a pumpkin treat. Rebecca Estelle gave away everything that reminded her of the pumpkins and she had always hated, until all that remained was a handful of seeds. Those she tucked snugly into her pocket, where they would be safe until planting next spring. What I love about this story is the fact that she really did not like pumpkins. Can't blame her. She had to eat them morning, noon, and night. But at the end of the day, everybody else loved pumpkins, and she found out that pumpkins really are good, and they made great treats, and a good reason for everybody to get together, celebrate, drink a little apple cider, and have some wonderful dishes and fun. Hey, I hope you enjoyed hearing this story, because I sure enjoyed reading it to you.